Hello everyone, Mrs. Trichome Champ here with another tutorial video for the Garden Tracker. Today we're going to go over the Daily Notes tab and the Weekly Notes tab. Both of them are pretty easy tabs, so we're going to combine both of these together for you today. First we're going to go over the Daily Notes tab. And as you can see on this Daily Notes tab, I have a section here for your veg side, and then we also have a side here for your flower. So both your veg and flower are going to be on the same tab, they're just separated here. And this tab is just meant for you to keep all those daily notes when you're going out to the garden, you know, what's going on in the garden, what's going on with certain strains. This is just a place for you to keep some of those notes that may not necessarily be strain or pheno dependent, but maybe just what's going on in your tent or your flower room or something like that. Also looking at this tab, you can see that I have it also listed to break down your day temps and your night temps along with humidity. Now for us, you know, we take temps at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. So if you do your temps at a different time, obviously you can change that information. But for me, I added this to this notes page so that if there's any particular notes going on in, you know, our veg or our flower rooms or anything like that, I have my notes here, but I can also take a look right away to see what the temps were for that day. So if there's a correlation between the two, I have that information and I can kind of take a glance and see what is a possibility of what may be going on. Now you may be looking at this and thinking, well, on the last tab on our veg or flower room, I also notated the temps and humidity. And yes, you did. And for me, I like to have it in a couple different spots because there is different information going with that. So on the veg and flower room tabs, yes, you have your humidity and your water temps and your room temps and things like that, and you're going to be able to look at that against the watering and see if there's any correlation of issues going on there. Here, you kind of have the same thing. You don't have, you know, the watering and that side of it, but you have those notes that you've taken, and maybe you've gone in and there's been a, you know, big issue in the tent with maybe some of your strains or your phenos curling their leaves, and that would be something that you can notate for that veg or flower tent. Well, looking at those notes that you have here for that, well, you can also look right here and see what those temps were and say, oh my gosh, yes, our temps were like 85 degrees today. No wonder why they're curling. So basically, yes, it's in two places, but it's for you to look at a different overall picture. Here you're going to have your overall picture of what may be going on compared to those notes. In the veg and flower room, you kind of have that overall picture of what's going on with the watering. So even though you're entering it in two different places, it's just to help you look at the information in a couple different ways, if that makes sense. So once you have everything set up, it's going to look something like this. Now for us in the daily tab, you know, I don't actually break the notes down by the pheno. I'll generally do it based on what's going on in the veg or flower rooms, and it's kind of an overall note for those particular rooms. So for me, this is kind of what it looks like. If you want to break it down by pheno, that's perfectly fine. That's up to you. Again, this is customizable. Do it how you feel is going to best benefit you. For me, I didn't want to do it by pheno because I also have the pheno's notes page that I can also leave any detailed pheno notes there. But when I am doing my daily notes, if there is something going on with a particular pheno, I will jot it down here as well in the notes. I just won't break it down by the pheno itself. So, you know, if I do have it here, I can still take a look as what's going on with that pheno, and I can take a look at the temps and humidity to see if there's anything that may have been causing the issues with that pheno based on the information that I have on this page. But overall, this is something that it's going to look like. It's going to look something very similar, something basic. You're going to have a whole group of notes with a whole lot of temps to go along with it. Alright, and moving on to the weekly notes tab, it's going to be pretty basic. It's going to be similar to the daily notes tab. The big difference is going to be you're not going to be notating the temps and humidity on this page. This is just a weekly wrap-up of what's going on. For me, when I do my veg side, it's kind of a wrap-up of what's going on in the tent altogether. I don't generally drill that down by individual pheno for weekly notes, but when I do move to flower, I do start drilling it down by actual pheno. As you know, getting into flower, you're starting to pick up individual characteristics and things like that. So under the weekly notes, when they are in flower, I will drill it down by pheno so that we can have a wrap up and we can see week to week how each particular pheno is doing. So after you get this page filled out, it's going to look something like this. Again, as you can see, my veg side, I don't have it broken down by individual pheno. It's just kind of that wrap up again of what happened in the veg tent with all of those seedlings that we had. But once we moved into flower, I did start drilling it down, by the individual phenos, giving individual pheno notes. As you can see, for them in the notes, I would put, where their height was for that particular week. And some basic notes would be just, how big of growth did it have from week 1 to week 2 and so on and so forth. So for me, moving into flower, I wanted more drilled down detailed notes of each individual pheno so that we can, by the end of that run, have a better idea from week to week how each pheno has progressed, and we'll be able to make the decision on which pheno are we going to continue to run with on our next run and which phenos are we going to cut out and no longer move forward with. So this just kind of helps give you a week wrap up as to what's going on in either your veg or your flower side. Alright, so that's pretty much all that I have for the daily and the weekly notes tab. It's pretty basic information. Again, they're pretty similar. You got your veg and your flower information on both tabs for the weekly and daily. And I just hope that all this information has been helpful and useful for you moving forward with your garden tracker. I also want to take a moment and thank Fada Mike and Ruby Doobie and Mystic and the Dab and Gab crew. Without them and allowing me this opportunity to present this tracker on their shows, I wouldn't be getting all the excitement and the feedback that I've been getting. So I really do want to thank them for that, and I appreciate all that they've done for us in helping get our names out there and getting this information presented as well. So if you haven't checked out their channels, please go and check them out. Subscribe, give them some good feedback as well. We're all looking to grow and learn here, so that's just my goal with these trackers. So with that, I hope again that this information was useful and helpful. And as always, if you ever have any comments, questions, or concerns, don't ever hesitate to reach out to us on the channel, or you can also reach out to me by email at mrstrichomchamp@gmail.com. Thanks so much. I hope you all have a great day and stay lifted.